It was the debut of Drake Maye as QB1. They did fall to Houston, 41-21 at home. And, you know, my quick synopsis before I let you go is that they literally, I've never seen myself or many others be happier with a 20-point loss. So the floor is yours. Just what were your thoughts on yesterday's game overall? And just more importantly, what did you like from seeing from Drake May?
Yeah, so obviously, when you're talking about Drake May, you can't walk away from that game and feel anything but positivity from the quarterback position. We talked about this, you and me, and yeah, I think it was just you and me, like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I
Mm,
said, listen, I don't want Drake May to start this year because I don't want him. I don't want to ruin a kid. You know what I mean? And after that strip sack, I was like, oh well, he's dead.
right,
We
right.
just ruined him. But what we also talked about was, you know, the stagnant offense under Jacoby Brissett, where he was throwing for 127 yards but wasn't turning the ball over. It's going to look a little different under Drake. Like he's probably going to throw for I think I even said 240 with a couple
Mhm.
touchdowns and a couple picks, and that's what we saw. But that's fine because his play clock in his head is it's gonna ramp up as he gets more and more reps. I loved that deep ball to Boutte. I mean, I thought that was just talk about something that we've been missing for the last 3 years, maybe even
Yep.
four if you want to include that year with Cam. But
Mhm.
he was so sure about that throw. He hit
Yep.
that third step on the back foot, and he knew where he was going, and he just dropped it right in the bucket. So the kid is, I mean, he's got all the talent, all the potential. The
Mhm.
the big the big thing from that game though is can he sustain that behind the line that we saw this week for the
Right.
next 12 games? And I don't, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that should be the biggest question, right? I think that for those, if there's anybody that's still wondering if he should play, like let's kill that. Like yes, yesterday should have showed you when everything else around him is figured out. In the words of Gus Johnson, watch out.
Yep.
Um, because if you can do that with this many subpar pieces around you, I can only imagine how it's going to look when you get the requisite pieces in order to succeed. I think you're going to be surprised by the grade I give. And if I didn't ask you for a grade, but I'll give a grade, and you can say if your grade was similar. I'm right around a C plus B minus, and the reason why I say
For him
yeah,
specifically.
yes, yeah, yeah, fair. And the reason why I say it, because obviously, listen, when I mean the tip turnover. I mean, listen, Will Anderson turned into Reggie White yesterday. Like Will
Yep.
Anderson turned into Reggie White. It was like wow. So whatever that tip ball, that whatever that happens. The first throw that was a bad throw. The first INT was a bad throw, and then whatever it got the sack. Even though the fumble really was on him because the line just got let everyone through. But I'm leaning towards the B minus because once again, not one, not two, but three different touchdowns. Once again, we probably would have been down 28-0 with Brissett at the half yesterday.
Yeah,
Realistic.
100%.
100%, right? So
Or you would have been down 14-0 and it would have
right,
felt like it was 35-0.
right, correct. So for him to come down once again, 2-minute drill or 4-minute offense, I forgot how much time was left. You come down, you get one to Henry, and then you get one to Douglas. Um, and that's what we spoke about, right? Can you show some escapability? Can you extend plays? Can you make the right reads? He checked most of those boxes, if not all of them, yesterday, right? So
Yep.
there's a lot to be, yes, there's some things left to be desired because it was his first start and he's a rookie and he's going to grow. But what was most encouraging, it seems like he's not going to make the same mistake twice because some of the throws you saw in the first half, you didn't see in the second half. And mainly speaking about Pop Douglas, right? Like he missed Pop. I think Pop he threw one to Pop where he kind of, he didn't lead him, and then he caught it, I think, but it was like just the first down. In the third quarter, on that last touchdown he threw, where he hit Douglas in stride, and it was to the house. And
Yep.
I'm just like, oh, like he's figuring it out on the fly, which is why so many of us were like, hey, what are we doing? So maybe they weren't lying in practice, right? They were saying, hey, he's getting better with this, he's getting better with that. And we saw it during the preseason too, right? Like we seen it from the Philly game to the Washington game, which was the last preseason game. He had already gotten better then. So, and I think that's why so many of us, like myself, were banging the drum, from week one. But like I said,
But
I'm in that C plus B minus range.
well,
I was pleased.
specifically though, Ray, not to
Mhm.
cut you off though, but
Yep.
specifically for me, it was never about can he play. It was about should he play. And the
Mhm.
reason I would always say, and I'm still banging the drum of, I mean, yeah, it looks better, but my biggest fear, and I hope this doesn't happen, but I'm going to put it out into the universe just to make sure that we have it recorded,
Mhm.
is this kid gets hurt week 15, week 16, and is out
Yeah.
for a year, and now you lose next season too. So
Right.
yes, he has all the physical capabilities to be a quarterback. He's making players that looked awful in an offense that looked anemic under Jacoby Brissett look a formidable offense. I mean,
Right.
the running game without Ramondre Stevenson is bad,
Mhm.
obviously, but
Mhm.
for Drake Maye to lead the team in rushing, I mean, we haven't had a quarterback lead the team in rushing since Cam Newton,
Right.
and Cam wasn't thrown for 245 every week and three
Right.
touchdowns.
Right.
So if you're asking me for a grade, I would grade him a B or a B plus because I do think that the tip pass was a. I mean, that's he's not going to make that mistake again. He threw that way too low and way too close to the defensive line. But
Mhm.
I thought, for him to make Pop Douglas look like the Pop Douglas that we've seen and talked about over the last couple of years in training camp and in the preseason, he was getting Hunter Henry back into the mix. I don't know. I just thought this if he is the future, and you actually get a left tackle and an
Mhm.
offensive line around him, and you don't need to add 2 to 3 wide receivers. You realistically, what I learned from that game against the top 10 defense was if you give him just one number one, Pop Douglas is a good number two. Kayshon
So
is a good number three.
okay, so it warms my heart what you're saying, but I'm still a little nervous for what you just said at the end, right? Because we fell into that trap for 20 years before then. Where it's like, just give no. I want as many as possible. Fuck, give me just one. I need as many great skill players as possible. This is not 2014 where it's like just give me Brandon LaFell and Brandon Tate and I'll make it. No, no, no. I
Well,
want at least
well,
two
he
to four
did still
guys.
have. I mean,
Yeah,
that team did still have Gronk, Jules, Amendola. Oh, and Brady.
right,
Like
correct. But I'm saying, so I'm saying I need that. And once again, even with Amendola became playoff Dola here, but it was quiet for him at St. Louis, respectfully. It was until
Yep.
he got here and he became much of a better player. But needless to say, like I said, I just rather them go out and get as much as you can, whether it's through development here or let's say you get someone in the draft. Um, I want to be clear, and I think I didn't say this before. I did talk about Will Campbell, but this is hyperbole, but it really isn't. Every draft pick in 2025 needs to be a lineman. Period. The, every whether it's offensive defense, every pick needs to be a lineman. So whether you want to go 3 offensive, 4 defensive, or 4 offensive, 3 defense, every pick next year needs to be on the line. So if you're at 1 or 2 and you get Will Campbell, great. Second pick, a guard. Third pick, a center. Fourth pick, a right guard. Fifth pick, everything needs to be in the interior because games are won and lost in the trenches. That's not an
Yep.
opinion. That's a fact. So it's been like this since 1920. So please, Jerron Mayo, Elliott Wolf, Jonathan Kraft, whoever else is out there helping making the football decisions, please go get the line and then use all your free agency money to go get talent at other positions. Go do that, but you got to get the line and you just go from there. But I want to get into more of this, right? That we talked about just how we looked. Now, they mentioned in the presser that the first 15 plays were, dialed in to kind of, play it safe and um,
So
kind of
stupid.
ease into it. But so yeah, so good. I'm glad you said that. So it's just like expand on that because I have my own thoughts, obviously, that's similar to yours, but I wanted to know like just what was the feeling around the play calling not only at the beginning of the game, but at the end. And I'll expand on more of that. But I want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought, like, listen, if the goal, the first 15 plays is to script the offense and get your quarterback feeling good, I understand that premise, but it wasn't working. The whole thing that we've been talking about this entire offseason, and also like more specifically 2 weeks ago, was we had no confidence that Alex Van Pelt was structuring the offense and leaning and gearing it more towards Drake Maye. And that could not have been more evident than in those first 15 plays. He looked very uncomfortable. It looked like he was being asked to do things that did not come, second nature to him. So once you saw him having to make the calls on the field, or when all hell broke loose, I think I was looking at the stats earlier. He was averaging 7.5 yards per attempt. When he was actually moving outside the pocket, it was 9.1 or something like that. So he can move, he can buy time, and big plays can happen.
Right.
Hopefully, Van Pelt saw the difference between the first 15 plays and the remainder of the game. It was like, okay, I can now call a game and
Mhm.
structure and scheme an offense around this talent. I doubt it, but that's what I'm hoping.
Right. No, totally feel that. I think for me, I had a big issue with the beginning as well because I'm like, yo, back to back runs and you're missing Ramondre. Like, what are you doing? If anything, they were expecting you to run, which is why they had so many in the box. That'd have been a perfect time to do a play action with Gibson and
Right.
then throw it over the top to Hunter Henry, right?
Yep.
Or even Austin Hooper, even though he, thought he tried to become something that he wasn't yesterday, and also gave us a costly turnover. But I also had a big issue with what happened at the end, right? And I don't know if it's unwritten rule. I don't know if it's a thing they just wanted to get out of there, tuck their tails, and get off the field. You had a chance to potentially score again and work on something in the final minutes. And then with 15 seconds left, I think we finally got a completion of the poke. And then they had all three timeouts, didn't use them. And I'm just like, yo, like, this is not 2010 where you could take for granted what you have out there and say, well, we'll work on it in practice, or no. In a game situation, last time I checked, shout out to Nipsey Hussle. Last time I checked, it is not a 40-minute game. It's not 48 minutes like basketball. It is 6-0. 60 minutes. So play to 0-0. Sorry. Like I'm not giving up a moment where my team can execute and look better just because y'all think it's garbage time. Respectfully, screw anyone that had that mindset. Oh, it was already over. Really? Okay. Well, I'm working on something until the clock is zero. And they say that's the ball game. Like to me, I have a big issue with that.
I
I
mean,
thought I thought it was soft and weak.
the rationale is probably they don't want to risk an unnecessary injury when they don't have to. Right. That's what I would imagine. Not even
They
just to
literally
Drake May,
called the
but to
dogs off.
anybody.
They
But
called
to
the dogs
anybody.
off. They called the dogs off. They literally were
No,
rushing.
listen, I'm with you. You could rush
Yeah.
two against this line and still get through.
No,
So
right, no. Right, but literally was rushing for. But it's like that's the thing. Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson once again look like Reggie White and Gilbert Brown. Once again, if you know, you know. If you don't know, Google is your friend. But those two were unreal. Or if
yeah,
you
but
want to go,
every
yeah.
every DN this year, Ray has looked
No,
like
but no, but what
Reggie
I
White
mean,
against us.
Will Anderson, he's special. He was a high pick. He's
Yes.
special. They well, I mean, I'm trying to think of the guy that they got when we was at Dean that went number one back years ago. Was it Mario Williams? Might be him. I think it's the same Mario
Yeah.
Williams. And
Yes.
then
Yes.
they get JJ. Like they know how to
And Cloudy.
draft at that position. Yeah, exactly. They know how to draft for that position. They just do. Like ever since they've been in existence as a Texas organization, like they have not missed when it comes to guys that can play at that spot. They don't miss. So yeah, but between that, they like so you bring in Dino Hunter from Minnesota, and it just turned into a shit show as it's been all year. But like I said, unfortunately, most of it's because of health, not because they're so terrible. Because week one they was okay. It was just Once again, everything had to be perfect for that line to be okay. We don't know if Cole Strange is coming back. I think Andrews is out for the year, right? Andrews is out for the year.
After the year.
Yeah, Andrews out for the year. So it's like, we'll see if Cole Strange comes back. What do you do with Michael Menu? Vidarian Lowe unfortunately got hurt on Sunday. He'd been playing well, so it's just like, you know, Michael Jordan, awful. And once again, you never will hear that statement ever again. Like Michael Jordan, just trash. I forget the other guy that played. That was something. I can't even think of the kid's name. He was number 75, which is disrespectful because 75 before him was a Hall of Famer. Was a Hall of Famer.
I think
It's a joke.
didn't they
Oh,
didn't they cut didn't
Ramonte
they
Jacobs, Andre Jacobs, something like that. Yeah.
so
So,
they cut Nick Lever today. But I mean, tell
okay.
you what, Ben Brown, the starting
Right.
center,
Yeah, he was awesome. He was awesome.
he was the best offensive lineman out there.
Yeah.
Like and you just picked him up this past week. I mean, I thought you can see areas or you can make excuses for like the defense, right? This defense would be so much better if all the people that we thought were going to be playing this year were playing, right?
Mhm.
I get that. The wide receivers are growing into it great. Drake Maye, we know what he is. But we knew the offensive line was a problem in preseason week 3 in 2023, and nothing has been addressed. And
Mhm.
now you're putting like your number 3 overall pick out there to hopefully not get killed. Like that's what
Right.
you're doing. That's embarrassing. That strip sack. I mean I was so mad. I literally I probably yelled a swear at the television because it was just like how did it took what 7 it took 2 minutes into the second half for him to almost die. Like you just can't do that.
What?
And
Yeah.
Sosi and Zoe
Mhm.
thought he was out. They're like that's how you separate your shoulder. And
Right.
instantly I was like, "Oh great. Great."
But also too, it's like anytime, and it's been like this all season. It's really been like this the last 3 or 4 years, except for 2021. But um, whenever they have built momentum, they instantly kill it. They instantly kill it, and
Especially
it's
at
just
home.
like, yeah, especially at home. And once again, it goes back, and people had texted me after that show that we did in the summer, when I went on that rant about you know uh Red Robin and other stuff, and it's like, oh, like you being, oh, you tripping? I'm like, well, I'm not tripping. They have sucked at home. Once again, I'm I'm rooting in facts. I'm not. This is not an opinion. That's a fact. If they have sucked at home, it is real sweet when people come up to Gillette. It's no longer, like I said, it's no longer kill or be killed. It's not. They come in there, they get into the visitors' locker room, they kick their feet up, have a little catering, get out there, sign some autographs, throw some footballs around with the fans, say, hey guys, thanks for coming. Thanks for being a fan. They win by 10, 15. In this case, they win by 20. Shake hands after, get on the bus, and see you later. This is once again, it's a get right game every week. Every week is a get right game. And once again, Houston's obviously really good, so it's not like they needed a get right game. But every team comes in here or sees us on the schedule now, and they salivate. They salivate at the chance of getting 3 or 4 sacks, getting maybe an interception or two. So it's unbelievable to me. Just once again, just how we've gotten there, but it is what it is. But I do want to get back to something positive because we touched on this a few moments ago. But Pop Douglas, who he had 6 catches, 92 yards, a touchdown. Kayshon Boutte, who had 3 catches for 59 yards. So those are breakout performances for those two guys. But just talk about what you've seen from them, and then just on the other end, man, Jalen Pope. I don't know what happened, bro, but it's getting real quiet on here. So I just want you to elaborate on that, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So you know me, I'm going to start negative. So I have to start with Jalen Polk, aka Clifford Franklin. Like he needs to get that stickum put on him immediately. I don't know what's been happening, and if you don't know that reference, go watch the fucking Replacements and educate yourself because it's one of the best movies of all time.
It's not the same
Like
Falco.
I a guy with such promise and has been known for like his catching ability and hands in college just can't like it instantly after watching that game and hearing, I don't know if it was on the radio or if it was on the TV broadcast, it said that he's been targeted 23 times this year and only has 9 catches. I
Mhm.
mean, that's atrocious. So he could potentially have 100 targets this year and only have 50 catches. That's embarrassing.
I
Absolutely
mean, it's
embarrassing.
but compared to what we've had, I'll take the 50. Just don't give
Yeah,
me 9,
sure.
but I'll take the 50.
Sure.
Right.
But I mean, I don't know if it's a lack of confidence, but it's also the first time, his first game playing with Drake. So I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. I think that we're gonna see the emergence of Pop Douglas and Kayshon Boutte over the next couple of weeks, especially against Jacksonville. I think that Jacksonville
Mm,
defense, and we'll talk more about that, is right for it. But
mm,
that's why I was saying earlier is, yeah, I think you still need to go out and get yourself a number one, or even like a really great number two. Like if you got yourself T Higgins as your starter and your number
mm.
one wide receiver, I think Pop and Kayshon are really good compliments. I do.
Right. Even Bourne when healthy, like I mean, obviously he was kind of coming back into the fold yesterday, but I think that even with him, like I feel like he is someone that can be because I said him and Mac, he was Mac Jones safety blanket while he was here anyway. So I feel like he is someone that can grow into that. He's probably the best route runner on the team still. So yeah,
100%.
so
Well, I
I
don't
think
know.
that's
I mean, Jalen Polk runs great routes. He just
yeah.
can't catch the ball.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing though. So and when I'm and I was trying to refrain from saying this, but whatever, we're here, so we might as well just put out that we don't run from the smoke here on NTP. But I think about the catch a few weeks ago where it didn't count right that we thought was a catch. I think about the touchdown that got called back, right? And my fear is that we're starting to watch the Kill Harry 2.0 because we know that that touchdown that got taken back against Kansas City was essentially the end of his career, right? No,
Right.
I'm serious. Like he literally just like gold dust. If you know, you know. He faded off into the sunset. And I'm just like, wow, like this is, he literally has shattered dreams. So it's like it's unbelievable to me how he just kind of just fell off like that. But same thing with Javon Baker. You told us in the off season people gonna get about their wheelchair. Well, guess what, brother? They're still in rehab. Like I don't I don't understand. I don't understand. So I want to see more from the two because I think those two can provide more. And once again, maybe as they grow in practice, they'll get that continuity. They get those reps with the first team. Because they were saying a few weeks ago that it was 70%, 30% May. So obviously that will flip around.
It
Now.
better be
So
it better be 100% May for going
yeah,
forward.
I mean,
But
I
it's gonna
think
be it's gonna be 90-10 though.
I think it'd probably be 80-20. They're not. I don't think they're gonna fully just say, but it'll be 80-20.
Yeah. Well, I just think
It should have been 100-0 from the start, but that's another
yeah.
story. But yeah, and I'm with you. Trust me. I just think that's just how they're gonna move. I think last night yesterday proved to me like Mayo's not completely running the show yet. I think now
No.
we still, it was you let AVP run some stuff, they let Elliot Wolf run some stuff, and Mayo's the puppeteer.